Greetings, all new hammer, middle hammer, and old hammer folks. I am Old Grumpy Wolf, and welcome to the Minibar Podcast. I'll be serving up lots of awesome painting nerdiness, talking to other painters from around the web. But before we get started, let me plug my normal thing with baselayer.com. Thebaselayer.com is a social media site meant for painting minis. There are no weird Chinese ads from Temu or shirts you need to buy or other people's pictures of their babies. It is all miniatures all the time. The guy who runs the site, he is an absolute awesome dude, and like literally he's building this whole site based around miniature painting. By the time this comes out, there will be notifications. You guys can check it out, but go check out thebaselayer.com, sign up, share your minis, and have a good time. And on the show tonight, I actually have someone who I've been following for about, 3 or 4 years now. He's an absolute legend in the Oldhammer scene. I have been dying to talk to him, bring him on the show. He's one of my main inspirations. Let me welcome to the show Anvil of Doom Miniatures, which I know a ton of you guys know from YouTube. This guy is an absolutely awesome painter. I love his stuff. Welcome to the show, sir, and I'm going to stop talking.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. As I said before we started recording, dude, like you have been a massive inspiration to me. You're one of the guys, one of the Oldhammer guys that I found before I started getting back into painting. What I was going to tell you before we started recording when you said, let's go, was I took a 12-year hiatus from painting Warhammer miniatures in 2012. I didn't get back into it until January of 24. And it has been such a cool thing to see the Oldhammer community like have guys like you, Goblin Green, Louise, the Savage Orc guy. God, there's so many people I'm forgetting right now because I'm
there's heaps of people. Yeah.
But no, just seeing the Oldhammer community doing what they do, and that Oldhammer and like 90s Grimbright is still such a thing. Dude, thank you so much for what you do. And
no, that's okay, man. Don't thank me. I'm just here having a good time. So
I mean, who massively put me back on your radar was Indigestion Sushi. Who put me back on your radar was Adrian Wood, and even Tim Prow and Josh from his I forgot his channel right now. Yeah, Josh from Crown Command. All those guys talk about you so highly. And it snapped me back on your radar again. I was like, I've got to get Dietz back on the show. By the way, is Dietz your actual name?
Yeah, no, it's kind of like my I go by Dietz.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. It's like me.
I go by Dietz, but it's a German. It's like Peter with the D.
It's your artist name.
It's kind of what I go by.
Got it.
It's my real name's. It's
you don't have to announce it. You're good.
A bit complicated, and so Dietz is kind of easier to say. And
okay, fair enough.
And everyone calls me. All my mates call me that. So yeah.
No, fair enough. Like I go by Lennon Midnight, and Lennon is my actual name, but Lennon Midnight is my stage and artist name. It's actually my band name. So yeah, I totally understand that. No need to reveal your actual name. But
it's
I know where you are in the world, but judging by your accent, where are you in the world?
I'm in Australia.
Okay.
I'm up in North Queensland, so up on the east coast of Australia, right at the very top, kind of like probably like the largest city on the east coast, north on the east coast. But it's we're still a pretty small town, considered all things. It's only about like 170,000 people who live up here. So, and I live north of that. So yeah, it's a nice quiet little beach.
Dude, town, when I was growing up, like 200, like in like, I don't want to say like 2000s in Vegas, like the early 2000s, we were at like 500,000 people. When I was born here, we were like 200,000.
Yeah. And
now we're at like almost 2 million.
Bloody hell.
So yeah, I know what like small town is like. Yeah.
Yeah. We're like, it's grown a fair bit, and I did move away for a little while, and then I've kind of I moved back in recent years, probably in the last 5 or 6 years. I kind of moved back. Okay. I grew up here, and you kind of go off on an adventure, go get a real job, and do all that stuff. But then I work my way back. I kind of like it quiet. I'm not really a big city person or anything like that. So yeah.
So oddly enough to you guys, what the hell was I going to ask? Oh yeah, so like. I've had numerous Australian guests on the show, and it's so weird to think like you guys are right now going into you're coming out of summer, going into fall, where us in the States, we're coming out of winter going into spring. And especially like here in Vegas, like spring sucks because it's like the most bipolar season of the year.
Okay, yep. Yeah, here it's a bit different.
Yeah,
like different. It's summer's terrible here. But well, for me, it's the worst time of year.
Well, you're in Celsius. We're in Fahrenheit. So like summer in Vegas, usually like in the peak of it, like July to August, is like 110 to 120 degrees.
I have to get the converter out. I'm not sure
hang on, I'll do that right now. I've got a browser window. So I can't spell Celsius to F. There we go. So Fahrenheit, 115 degrees. 115 degrees Fahrenheit here is 47 degrees there.
That's pretty hot.
Yeah,
hot. But we get just like it's hot. It's a bit of a different.
Well, you're in a desert too, so it's the same thing as Vegas.
Well, no, I'm actually in the tropical north. So we're in where we are. It's kind of it's like it's up near the equator. We're getting closer to the equator, so we're right in the in kind of in a green belt, and so we get to like it's about 37 degree days. It nearly gets up to 40 degrees.
Oh, okay, so you're like high 90s, low hundreds.
Yeah, but we have like 98% humidity.
Dude.
It is hot. Like it's just you walk outside and you just start sweating.
Dude, like here in Vegas, so like in July and August, we get monsoons. So we go like 115 degrees during the day, plus like 50-60% humidity. It's like I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
Yeah, we get like cyclones and like all sorts of storms and stuff like that. So it gets really. It is a bit of a sticky, warm place. But winter's the best time of year. I love winter. Winter's like
perfect, I mean, like any of us that live in like a desert-ish, temperate, even if it's tropical-ish. Yeah, winter comes around. Oh, bring on that dry, cold air.
Yeah, 100%.
So, one big thing, like, we're not into the show completely yet, but like, I've seen your drawn artwork on Instagram, and like in the background of what you do, like you're on the same page as me. Like I really admire what you do, both between your painting and your drawing. It's so cool to see both your Oldhammer painting and your drawing, because like a lot of your drawing is like very heavily inspired. It seems like it's heavily inspired by tattoo art, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, I think it's.
Also, your YouTube videos, you feature a lot of your artwork too.
Yeah, I just do. They're all the stuff on my YouTube videos kind of like quick. I just like to doodle just to kind of jazz things up a bit. Yeah. But it's kind of it's definitely inspired by like tattoo art and stuff. And but I did I studied art and
okay.
Back at uni and stuff like that. And even growing up, I always was drawing the whole time, like my whole childhood and whatnot. But yeah, we have like a lot of like. I'd say it's like Australiana type of art here. It's like a kind of a style that's probably not that well known. It's kind of like there's a brand that back in the 90s called Mambo, and it's very inspired by like that. A lot of like it's weird because when I do draw and stuff that's not like I do some art that's not like strictly Warhammer and stuff like that. It's more like I'd say more beachy and kind of airy and more like Australian lifestyle art, if that makes sense. But I've kind of incorporated that into like my love for Warhammer, and it's kind of like merged into this kind of like, and you can tell why it's a bit more pastel-y, it's a bit more light.
Yeah, well, like your style art is like actually what we call. I think you call it the same in Australia with tattooing is like flash art.
Yeah. Yeah,
so like kind of like I hate to compare it because I couldn't stand the shirts in the 2000s, but like Ed Hardy style stuff.
Okay,
where it's very like it's very like heavy line art, heavy line.
I couldn't imagine wearing Ed Hardy.
Well, like heavy line art, heavy line work, and then like heavy like very blocked in colors.
Yeah, like I know what you mean. Very like trad tattoo, flash art. Yeah, it's very much like that, and I there's a lot of like, but there's also a lot of really good like now in the Warhammer scene. There's a lot of like all of a sudden there's like all these really great artists popping up as well. One of my favorites, like I've got some stuff like Gabriel Cardosi, which is his stuff up there. Okay, there and there. Yeah, he's like one of my favorite artists in the Warhammer scene and stuff like that. And there's like a lot of great tattoo artists, and there's even some boys down in Melbourne. they run like a tat hammer event as well, which they like, so they're really into it. So I really love, there's like that's part of the hobby for me as well. It's like the art of, like, I know it's an official Warhammer art, 'cause I love the old stuff and I love the old stuff that we used to see in all the magazines, but there's just like a lot of talented people that are around right now and that I've really been enjoying, and it's kind of inspiring me to do more art and stuff like that. So it's always good fun.
Hold on, I think I know which what White Dwarf that is behind you. Hang on a second. Ironic, coincidentally, I have it on my bookshelf.
Oh, great! Yeah,
is that the one right behind you?
Mine's 151.
Oh hell, okay, so this is 135. My bad.
Nearly close though. I actually got that off a. It was one of my first, like when I first started making videos. Like, you know, when you first start, someone reached out to me. A really nice guy reached out to me, and he you know, you get that, like, you're just starting, and he was just like reached out and was kind of like a friend, real nice guy, real friendly to me, and he really like preached my videos, and he kind of sent me it. So I hung it up there just to kind of, you know, just started my YouTube journey, and I really loved it. I really appreciated it. I'd never really received a gift from someone that, you know, just starting out the hobby, you start doing that, and so I hung it up there just as a little reminder and a thank you. So yeah, but no, it's, you know, all the old White Dwarfs are like top tier to me. It's like when I was a kid, just going through the pile, you know.
I'm a big fan. Like, I talked to 80 Wood about this, like when they went from White Dwarf to Fat Dwarf.
Oh, okay, yep. Yeah,
I think it was it was like the late 100s, and he went on about, I think you've watched the podcast, but he went on about that in the podcast about going from White Dwarf to Fat Dwarf, and like going through those old issues of White Dwarf, especially, you know, compared to like Fat Dwarf and what we know now. You know, like there was so much, they seem so thin and so lackluster, not in a negative way, but it's like when they went to Fat Dwarf, it's like all the stuff that you bought White Dwarf for was like massively amplified. It was like, okay, there's like 40 more pages of all the stuff I really love.
Yeah.
Like, especially like the painting.
And for me, it's kind of like, 'cause I'm like, my job's like graphic design. I'm a graphic designer, art director by that's like kind of my day job. So for me to go through,
I did that for like 20 years.
yeah. You know what I mean? It's going back through it all now. Like, you know, I appreciate it when I was a kid because I was still young. I was a child of the 90s, you know. So going through it now as an older, like, you know, a little bit older, it's kind of like,
you're not older.
I try to think to myself, like, how do they like, you know, how did graphic design work back then? Like, how did it all work and all those types of things? So I just go back through them now, and it's kind of, and it hits me with the nostalgia of when I was a kid, but I also love like just the way it's kind of set out and everything as well. It's great. So to actually get into the show, what got you into the hobby of miniature painting? Years ago. So I don't know what year it would have been. I think I was like maybe 9 or 10, maybe 11.
I'm 44.
Oh geez, what am I? 30. I'm 35. I'm 35. Yeah.
Okay, so I got 11. I got 9 years on you.
Yeah, you're still a bit older than me. So I would have been. But I was when I was younger. As a kid up the street, and I feel like it's like everyone has like a really similar experience. But I was a kid up the street, and I remember for Christmas or something like that, he got a box of Lizardmen. Oh, nice! And I was like just some skinks. Oh, and I was like,
I think that's these, 5th edition fantasy.
So yeah, 5th edition, yeah. So and I was like, oh my god, what are these? And you know, he just kind of showed me them, and then he had a couple of White Dwarf magazines, and then I think he got an army book or whatever he got. I think he got some Saurus Warriors, and kind of from there, it just kind of like build momentum. And then I really wanted some, and but I would go, I'd beg my mum and dad for them. But the only thing that really get me is kind of old White Dwarf magazines at the time, because money was a bit tight back then. We got a big family, so I did get the odd piece of, like, you know, Warhammer. I went Lord of the Rings when like Lord of the Rings kind of came out. I got a few of that, you know, got a few Lord of the Rings minis, and I got the odd hand-me-down minis from friends and stuff like that. But that's what kind of got me into it. And I just go to all the news agencies. My dad was really into cars, and he would take me to the news agency while Mum was shopping, and I'd just read White Dwarf magazines and whatnot. So that was kind of like my where it kind of started. And I spent about, I don't know, I was up until about 15 kind of really wanting to, you know, I loved it like on the back half, like I loved it when I was a bit younger, but I'd always pay attention to it, and I'd always wanted to paint like you'd see in the magazines and in army books and whatever. But yeah, I never really got the chance to until kind of later on in life. So I'm kind of right now reliving my childhood.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
The funny
Like
thing was,
everyone,
I was talking to my gal tonight when she came over. I'm working. I think did I send you pictures of the Ultramarines I'm doing?
Yeah.
So those are my like fun level standard. That's not my competition standard. I'm taking those to Golden Demon with me in March.
Okay.
But I was telling her, I was like, you know, like what I'm doing for my fun standard now is like well beyond what I did as a kid.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
in another couple of years, I'm very interested in where my fun standard is going to be compared to like my competitional standard. Instead of being like down here, like where I'm like when I was, hang on, there we go. Starting back in a painting, I was here, and now I'm like this way here, and then in a couple of years, like so my fun, I'm hoping my fun standard in like two or 3 years is going to be like almost my competitional standard now, to where I can knock out 2 or 3 miniatures in like a week, and they look like competition level. And it's funny how like we grow as painters from like our childhood to like 20s to 30s to 40s. Yeah, mind you, I missed a lot of my 30s because I was out of it. So go ahead.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean, because I had like I only really got to paint, like I didn't get to paint too many minis when I was a kid, unfortunately. Like I had the minis, but I only got like I think my dad got me some like I don't know what type of paint it was. You know, it's kind of like, maybe it was enamel or something like that. It was like for toy, like, you know, for building like tank kits and stuff like that. And I don't know, we used to go to like
Tester's paint.
Like you used to get me like
were they in glass bottles?
I think so, yeah.
Oh yeah, Testers. Yeah, they smelled like hell.
They smelled.
Yeah, they were Testers.
Like glossy, yeah, and it was just like, you know, and I just blobbed the paint on. So I never really got to do that, and it wasn't until like, you know, probably the last 4 years I kind of really got into it again. It was always something that was on the back of my mind. Like I'd come in and out of the hobby, like, but I wouldn't be like 100% in it. But I'd take a look what's going on, you know what I mean? Like what's come out since that, and like, oh, you know, how have the high elves changed?
Well, I remember like in my time away, like GW switched over from like Firstborn to like Primaris, and I'm like, what are these? Yeah, those are Space Marines.
Yeah. I've said this story many times, but it's the same with Age of Sigma and myself. I was like, I walked into a game, like I made the decision. I was like, okay, this is it. I'm done. I'm going to start mini painting. I'm going to start collecting, and I'm going to start getting into it properly and get everything I wanted when I was younger. And I walked into like the Warhammer shop, and I walked in, which we never had one here when I was growing up. We had to go to a place called Toy World, but there was one that opened up, and I remember my missus, she was going shopping, and she's like, yeah, just go on, get some paints and get some stuff. And I walked in, and I'm like, where are the high elves? Like, what's going on here? Because it was a few years, and then the lady in there was like, she said to me, she was like, oh, you know, that doesn't really exist anymore, and blah blah. And she was trying to sell me on like not Sylvaneth, what are they? The Lumineth Realm Lords or whatever they were at the time. She's like, you know, these are like high elves. And I did get a box, and I went home.
I don't want like high elves. I want high elves.
It just like, I was looking at them, and I'm like, oh, like I don't know, and it didn't give me the same kind of, you know, I really love the hand, like yourself, probably like hand sculpted minis and stuff like that. And then so I jumped on Facebook Marketplace. I was like, nah, stop this. So when I went on Facebook Marketplace, and I just started buying up, you know, and I was very lucky because I got in just before. I feel like, you know, prices have kind of really hiked up now. So I was buying, like, you know, I think I got in probably a few months before, maybe 6 months before it kind of all the prices started getting jacked up. So I just got as many as I could, and I was buying wood elves and high elves and all sorts of things that, you know, I remember when I was a kid. So
my last episode that I did with I think you might follow him. You probably know of him, Blue in VT, which is Blue in Vermont.
Yep.
Yeah, he does like a lot of Oldhammer and like Oldhammer Chaos stuff. I was curious because, like, getting back into this in 24, a lot of the Oldhammer stuff I bought in the past was like super cheap because nobody wanted it. And like my the RTB 15 Mark 7 Marines, that's like, those are my unicorn box sets. And the first box that I bought brand new in box back in 2002 was like $25 shipped off eBay because like nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
And the second box I bought like a year or so ago was $175.
Yeah.
And what Blue and VT was telling me was like all of this Oldhammer stuff spiked during COVID.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, before then, like it was just pennies on the dollar. Like it was nothing. And then COVID hit and everybody was sitting in their houses and people wanted to make money.
I'll get back into it.
So they started jacking up the prices of Oldhammer stuff. And thankfully, like, so I have 2 boxes of RTB 15 Marines. One I paint, one is staying brand new on the shelf. I'm never touching it. Beautiful. I also got a box of RTB 09 Terminators. Never touching those because that was like a box set that I dreamed of having. I have all the miniatures, but I just wanted it brand new in box. And the guy actually, so it was $175 for the RTB 15s, $175 for the Terminators. The dude sold me a brand new copy of the original softcover Rogue Trader book for $75. The thing I found out was like Games Workshop actually reprinted it in like the 10s in a hardcover.
And I think they do like Realm of Chaos and stuff like that as well.
I'm just like, I kind of want that too. I want the hardcover and the softcover. But like literally when I opened the book up, the guy who was selling the miniatures, they were stored in his uncle's attic for like 25, 30 years. Like he was a kid when he bought them all. He never painted any of them, never used them. He just stuck in a box, put it in his uncle's attic. And when he was selling it, it was all brand new. So when I cracked open that issue, that copy of Rogue Trader, like the brand new book, slight spine crack, the brand new book smell.
Yeah, it hits you hard, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, that brand new book smell, dude. There's nothing like it. You're like,
I know what you mean.
Oh, it'll never smell like this again.
This is it. Yeah, no, it's like that because even when I was kind of like when it was. So prices for when I got back into it, they weren't as high. Like they were creeping up. But they weren't as high, but you could still get like sealed boxes pretty cheap. So
like $10.
I was kind of just like
$20
grabbing. Yeah, and they're like for me, it's like I love getting the sealed box of this and sealed box of that. I was a little bit I was probably 2013, 2014. I was like around 14 years old. So like I still have like fond memories of. Middle Hammer as well, like I suppose the later Warhammer Fantasy. So even getting those boxes sealed for me is kind of special as well. I know it's not like the early '90s stuff, which I still remember, but even getting stuff like that, and getting some terrain or anything like that, I just love to get my hands on. Well, I do love opening it though. I do love cracking it open and just getting the paints out and just really like living in that moment and just like having it all there and being like,
that was like the 2000s, the early 10s. It was a good era. I just repurchased the early mid 2000s Chaplain Terminator.
Yeah,
I think you know the one I'm talking about. The one with he's got his bolter straight out and he's got a Crozius and like skull, and like scrolls all over him. Yeah, I just repurchased him for like $30 off eBay. I'm gonna paint that up for Las Vegas Open for the painting competition.
Oh, nice.
But there was some good stuff in the Middle Hammer era.
I think so too. I think it's like underrated.
I'm not gonna say all of it because I think a lot of the like me with being Space Marines person, like some of the proportions. And let's not talk about the Dark Eldar from back then because they were just bad looking. But some of the proportions were really, really it's not even a word. Cartoonized. They were really like off, like anatomy. But there was some actually really good stuff that came out in the 2000s. And one thing I will go credit for is like GW redoing their paint in the 2000s for like, they try to go matte with a lot of their stuff. And they really started like kind of getting in tune with what they were doing. I think that's like the golden era for their paints.
Yeah, I think it was like when they were taking the hobby like a bit more seriously. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Because it was when they introduced foundation paints and like they went from inks to shade paints.
And I think as well, like I'm not 100% sure, but like I think as well, like as the painting side of the hobby and the hobby side of the hobby, do you know what I mean? That is become more important as well. It's like we see it as a game, but there is that, you know what I mean? There is the hobby side. I suppose that's what I'm kind of more into, the hobby side of things. And people were kind of demanding better paints and you're demanding better things you can do. And I know it brings a lot more people into it as well, that sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's as well. Like, you know, you progress, you got to make changes like that as well.
Well, I mean, like as much as I don't like their modern paints, that's not really like their contrast colors. They really started taking that side of the hobby seriously, especially in modern times with like, you know, they got in the triad system, and I've said this numerous times on other episodes where it's like, you know, they market their biggest crowd that they market to is actually like 30 to 40-year-old women, because women, those moms bring their kids into the stores. And this is actually from a former general manager of Games Workshop, the actual corporation. 30-something, 40-something-year-old women, they bring their sons, their teenage kids into Warhammer. So Warhammer wants to appeal to them because their kids are in there buying the stuff, and who's going to pay for it? The moms.
Yeah.
And with how they formulated their paints now versus 80s, 90s, and 2000s when I grew up, it's much easier to understand. It's much easier to get into painting. Obviously, the poster boys, the intro drug to Warhammer is the Ultramarines. Yeah. So they have, you know, you go in 40-year-old mom with, you know, a 13-year-old kid. Hey, my son wants to paint these things. How do I paint them? Oh, here's the 5 paints you need for the armor. Here's the 3 paints you need for the silvers. Here's the 3 paints you need for the gold metallics. So they have the triad system set up. And as much as I don't like modern GW paints, Citadel paints, just because of their paint, their medium, because that's like a gel. It's really weird. I have a hard time getting used to it. But it's a very good way for youngins to get into painting versus like possibly you, even me, when we still had the original colors, which still had goblin green.
It's very different. Like it for me, and you know, I don't really like use, like, I suppose I've trying to get my mates into the hobby as well, and I've been pushing pretty hard. I'm like, come on, dude, like get into it. And he bought like a I think it was like an Age of Sigmar box with like I think it was like a Skaven, do you know what I mean, with like a few paints in there and whatever. And he's was kind of using those, and then he was painting them up, and I think he's having a good time as well with it. So I can see, do you know what I mean? It's like it's just it's a good thing to do, I guess. Like, you know,
if the spark is there, it's always a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
It was really interesting going to Las Vegas Open this past October, when I took my gal Pepper and her 2 kids plus their significant others. Stepson, he literally he was with his gal, and we walked in, and he's really big into video games, and we walked in, and he's like, dude, this is so cool. How long does it take to play the game? How much does it cost to get into it? I think I shattered his dreams. I'm like, it's like, if you want to play 40K, it's like 2 to 6 hours, and if you want to build an army, it's like $2,000 to $3,000. But the neat thing was,
and if you want to do it, like, you know, you want to paint them well, it's going to take bloody long time. So years of painting.
Well, the neat thing was, stepdaughter and stepson sat down at Tooth and Coats for their paint and take, and with their significant others, and everybody was painting, and they really enjoyed it. They had a lot of fun. All 4 of them had a blast, and it was so cool to see the kids. I mean, bloody hell, I'm 44, so they're 17 to 22, and they're kids.
Still young.
But seeing the kids sit down and do this thing, and like stepson came up to me, he's like, dude, I didn't know how hard this was. Like, this is really cool. Like, you do a really good job. And it was neat just hearing from someone who just experienced it say, like, okay, now I have an appreciation for what you guys do, or what you do.
It's very hard. Like, as soon as you know, even when I first started painting, you have that idea, you think, oh yeah, like, you know, you look at the box art or whatever. I'm gonna get into it, and as soon as you put the paint on, you're like, okay, it's like every reality hits, and you're kind of like, okay,
exactly what you're saying. Me painting those Ultramarines, that was the first actual like 2nd edition 40K box set I ever bought, was the Ultramarines Tactical Squad. And I remember as a kid seeing it like, oh, it's not that hard to do. I can do this.
And then you're flicking through pages, and you're like, oh, this is easy. And then it's completely. And I think that's kind of like, you know, when you start to get there, when you start to feel like, you know, you're making those strides and changes, and you it takes a while. It does take.
You've still got
longer
30 other more strides to make.
Yeah, exactly. You're never there. I'm not there yet. I've got a long way to go too. So.
Hell, we're like in our late 30s, early 40s, and we're like still not there.
I mean, yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like art. You never get there. You never going to master it. You maybe if you're like Alberto.
No, there is no mastering it. There's no mastering it because there's always the great thing about painting is there's always something new to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's such a cool thing. Like, you think you got a handle on what you're doing. You go for a couple of months. You're knocking a bunch of stuff out, and then you discover like, oh wait, I could do like 2 different highlights here, and like oh hell.
And it's and even like changing just like recipes and stuff like that. You think you like. It's like me. I'm like, oh, I've had a blue like that I've locked down for a while, and then all of a sudden I'm like, and you get like new paints. I got some like Pro Acryl paints recently, and I'm like, oh, I'll just mix in, see how this goes, and you start mixing it in, and then you're like, oh, this is way better, way more vibrant.
You're like, why didn't I do this like 2 years ago? Damn it!
Oh yeah, it's like So you just kind of just slowly change, and then it's like I've been doing the same recipe for yellow for so long, and then I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I'm like, why don't I just try this instead? And then I'm like, oh. Finish is way better. So it's
Speaking
like,
of yellow,
I'm
never changing that recipe. I love the recipe I got. Like it works. It's like the exact recipe I was dying for when I was younger. Yeah. But hold on, to go back into the show. I had a good yellow, but
I've changed mine now.
To go back into the show, did you get into the hobby because of gaming or painting?
Painting. So for me, it's more. Yeah, for me, it's more the modeling and painting. Like I've played a couple. Like I've only played like a few games. Like I played like a couple when I was younger, and then I played another game a couple years ago now, and then I played like a game War Master. I'm not really like I don't really like the people I played against are pretty competitive, and they kind of like, oh, I'm not really a competitive person. Like I love playing games, like I do, but for me it's more about the visuals and even the lore and stuff like that. I love the lore and recently
I've been getting my own heart.
Yeah, and I've been building terrain and stuff recently, which is like a new thing that I've kind of branched out into, which I really like. For me, it's like a new, really fun side of the hobby, which I wish I started doing earlier because it just kind of breaks up the monotony of painting for me. Like when I'm doing, and it's building, I'm building some boards and my boards are more like dioramas, I'd say, like giant big dioramas than
go big or go home,
like tables I'm going to play on. Yeah. Because I just like to set my minis up and kind of, build a scene and have it kind of like a diorama, like what you see in like Warhammer World and stuff like that. But I'm more of the hobbyist, and I love painting, and I love bringing the characters from the books and stuff alive as well. Like I love my Gotrek and Felix and stuff like that. I'm about to head into like Teclis and Tyrion with books and stuff like that as well. And I'm reading about the original Sigmar and all stuff like that. And I'm kind of getting into that sort of thing.
We all know Sigmar as the Emperor.
Yeah. So yeah, like it's kind of like I'm reading some like what is it? One of the first books about him, whatever. So I'm going to make a video on that eventually down the track because I feel like it's a kind of like an unanswered question. But for me it's more of like painting and the hobby side of things. When I first got back into the hobby a few years ago. Like, unfortunately, I don't have that many like painting competitions. Like, I'm really far away from everything up where I live. We do have painting competitions in Australia. We have like the Crimson Brush, and then there's like ArcFest, which is coming up.
I didn't know Crimson Brush was down there.
Yeah, so Crimson Brush is in Canberra. I was going to go this year, but my wife's birthday fell as like on the weekend, and it was her 30th birthday.
Honey, we're going to do we're doing a thing.
I wish, but unfortunately not. This year, but next year I'm definitely going to try and make it. But we don't really get too many. Yeah, we don't really get too many like painting competitions, unfortunately. So it was something when I first got back into it. I was like, I'm going to go do some painting comps, and I eventually want to do like I want to go into Golden Demon and stuff like that. But I've kind of like quietened down a little bit now. Tempered my expectations, and now it's become more of it's like a therapeutic thing, and I love just and I'm not really like I've got my favorite army that I love. Like I love my Chaos Dwarfs, I love High Elves, but I'm kind of just going with the flow.
The new Chaos Dwarfs don't hold a torch to the old ones.
Yeah, I'm not really.
They're not the same.
Yeah, they're not really to me. Like I made a video about it. They're kind of like meh. Yeah, no, they're not really Chaos Dwarfs to be.
Yeah, they don't have the big braided beards anymore that cover most of their body. I was at Warhammer a couple weeks ago and I was looking at the new Chaos Dwarves. I'm like,
Yeah, I think what's missing is like we kind of tend to forget like that. I suppose, well, to me anyway, like Warhammer Fantasy.
I miss the hats.
Yeah, but Warhammer Fantasy to me is kind of like it's got like, it's like a historical game as well. It's got historical elements from our world, and I think that's what kind of we kind of like we forget. And when we go into like Age of Sigmar, it gets really high fantasy. So when you have like Chaos Dwarfs and you take away kind of like the Babylonian inspiration and stuff like that, and you start to go into the high fantasy area with them, and you try to take them in a little bit of a different direction. To me, they just don't seem like classic Chaos Dwarfs, which I love, which I know and love, and I think like a lot of people know and love, and the big hats and stuff like that. So yeah, they definitely do change. I'm eventually going to try and convert a new Chaos Dwarf mini, and that's coming up soon. I'm gonna probably get the green stuff out and try fix it up a little bit.
For anybody watching, go check out his YouTube.
Yeah, if you want.
Looking at the new fantasy battle stuff, the Age of Sigmar stuff. The one faction that I still think has it right because it's still so cartoony and fun is orcs. I mean, like literally, you can chop off their old hammer weapons and put like modern hammer weapons, stubbas, bolters, all that stuff on them, and they would fit right in with both. They fit in both with fantasy and 40k. But
yeah, I think orcs are universally orcs.
Well, it's honestly, like overall, like with what Games Workshop is doing with orcs, like I'm still glad they make them, kind of the ass of the jokes. They're still they're no matter what fantasy or 40k, they're still the comic relief. And it's nice that they kept that going, but I don't know. I think in like modern Hammer stuff, between both Fantasy Battle and 40k, especially with 40k, a lot of the humor and campiness has been taken out of it, and it's so serious. Where it's like, no, like you go back to Oldhammer, the stuff that you and I like, and thousands upon thousands of others like, old people especially. There was so much campiness. There was so much like, I think
it was a bit more whimsy.
I love how GW is suing people for ripping them off, but like in the 80s and the 90s, they ripped everybody else off to make the universe they have now, but they go after people like expanding on that universe, kind of ripping them off and suing them. It's like, no, get back to the campiness and the silliness. That's what made you great.
Yeah, I think like for me, it's like looking back at Oldhammer and stuff like that. It's a bit more whimsy, like if that makes it. But I don't mean it in like a bad way or like I mean it.
No, it's not a bad way. It was whimsy. It was fun. It was silly. It was like campy.
There was something to it. Yeah, there was something to it. It was like it had a lot of character and it was its own thing. And it was like it wasn't trying to be anything else or like like in recent years.
It didn't take itself seriously.
Yeah, it didn't take itself seriously. And I think in recent times, like a lot of like newer, like, you have like old Star Wars and then you have new Star Wars, then you have, you have Oldhammer, then you have like the new Warhammer and you have all these different properties. You used to have like Marvel Comics back in the 90s, which were pretty grungy.
Grogu is basically the Red Gobo.
Yeah, it's like you want to sell some toys. That's what they do. So it's like there's two different. We're going through like a shift in different, in different times and different things change and stuff like that. And I know I get people go, move on, paint something new, whatever. But I can't, man. I'm stuck with the old metal and stuff like that. I can't. And there's so much. And the thing is, there's so much to paint. There's so many great miniatures from 80s, 90s, early 2000s that I feel like I've just scratch the surface. There's so many.
What you just said is actually one of the greatest things about the whole hobby in itself is that if you're middle hammer or old hammer, it doesn't matter. There's over 30 years of miniatures to paint. You don't have to like the new hammer stuff. You don't have to like the new lore. You can be stuck in the old lore. You can be stuck in the old sculpting styles. You can be stuck in the era that you like, and there is so much from each era to paint that it's ridiculous.
And there's like communities in these eras as well. I feel like there's lots of like little communities and like I bleed across a few different. I go all the way back. Like I really love like even the the late 80s Citadel sculpts and stuff like that. Still, I think they're great. I think they're great. I love hand sculpted, anything hand sculpted really. I'm a big fan of, even if they don't look that great, but they're still like, you go the whole way through, you go from like 4th edition, all the way up, and it's like even 4th edition has this kind of like nicheness to it.
You're talking about 4th edition fantasy?
Yeah, and like I love like even
like the old Kev Adams stuff.
Yeah. And that to me is like, I have this like dream. I'm like, one day I'm going to make a pure 4th edition high elf army and just have the blue, the whites, the silver, and the gold, and just have it all as, and I'll have my more modern old world army, but I'm going to have like a, that. But yeah, anyway, there's lots of people, and there's lots of, it's just so big and vast. And even like right now, I've noticed like a lot of, there's even like for me, it's like newer people, like newer sculptors and people who kind of, they're not like, like new miniature companies, like hand sculpted miniature companies and stuff like that, and they're doing a really good job as well.
Yeah,
doing some really good, I'm not like even some good proxies, just beautifully sculpted miniatures that these independent sculptors are doing, which I'm kind of like, oh man, these are looking really good to me. They're capturing that Oldhammer aesthetic, or the even though they're sculpted today, they're still kind of capturing that vibe, and I'm even there's like that niche as well. So there's so much stuff.
Oh yeah. No,
broad,
it's honestly like a great time to be into what we're into, be in the hobby.
Yeah.
As far as, I mean, like you can be in a Warhammer, but it doesn't matter because there's so many independent sculptors outside of Warhammer, or outside of Games Workshop that are doing, especially if you're like an Oldhammer person, doing stuff that greatly resembles the things that we grew up with. And like one of the entries I'm going to do for Las Vegas Open this year is hang on, miniature company. Hang on, looking. There we go. No, I can spell that right. There we go.
Sorry if you can hear. There's rain hitting my roof really loud.
Oh, so no, I can't hear it. It's fine.
Okay, great.
Not open image in new tab. Open link in new tab. I can't open link in new tab. I would have this bookmark. Anyway, Ultra Violence Miniatures.
Okay, yeah.
And he does custom 3D sculpts, but he does like specifically Oldhammer stuff.
Oh,
and
cool, yeah.
He made up a bunch of Saturnine Terminators.
Oh yeah.
One of them like is he redid the new Logan Grimnar that came out. He redid as a Saturnine. He sent me the first one he made. And
cool.
I'm going to paint that up for Las Vegas Open, but also he did a bunch of Saturnines, different poses. He made the modern hammer scale, so they're 34 millimeter. Yeah. And he also did from Space Hulk 3rd edition, the dead Terminator and the throne.
Yeah.
He made a Saturnine of that.
Yeah.
So awesome, it's cool seeing him do that. And also like he does like orcs, Eldar, some dwarf, some squats, but they're Oldhammer inspired, but they're like modern sculpting of massive Oldhammer influence. There's Gobo Girl. I had her on during the first season. She's doing her own sculpts that are very much based on Kev Adams.
Yeah, cool.
There's another sculptor out there that does like I don't know who he is. I've seen his profile. I need to get him on the show. Guy is a great sculptor, but he does like Kev Adams specific. There's another sculptor that I'm having on in May, going back to Instagram. Hang on, where is he? Sorry for people who are watching the show. I'm not prepared. No,
you're right. We're going off on a tangent anyway.
No. Where is he? I've been emailing with him, so his DM got buried. But he does gobos that are very much based on his own art style, which are just absolutely phenomenal. My gal just bought she bought like $100 worth of his miniatures the other night.
Oh, nice. It's like a dream of mine to kind of like, that's where I want to kind of go eventually. To try to do some, like I attempted to do some sculpting on the channel when I first kind of started, and I'm like, I'll give it a go. But it's to sculpt in such a small scale, like 20 scale is like, it's hard, man.
Oh, there we go. I found him.
It's difficult, yeah.
Tom Mason. He does Goblin Menace Heroes.
Okay, cool.
And I'm plugging him way before his episode comes on. He actually he has STLs for download, but he actually casts his models in metal here in the States. And his gobos are just they're so much fun.
I'm painting currently right now. I'm painting some I'm painting some of the moon blends from his, like, I think it's Wallace or Walsh on Instagram. He's from Italy. So this is my next video is actually my first video of not painting a Games Workshop mini for my channel. So
nice.
I'm really keen. Yeah, he's you probably, I got him here. You can't really see him, but like he's kind of sculpted these like these little like moon goblin dudes. And they've got the Oldhammer. They're all hand sculpted. They're in Meridian Miniatures custom, so they're in metal, and they're just like top tier. So I'm going to enter one of them for Olden Demon this year has a
open competition.
They got an open competition, so I'm going to probably enter one of those for that. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to have time to enter an Olden Demon this year. I was a little frustrated last year because like he really narrowed down the video where he didn't show a bunch of entries.
Yeah,
and you had to pay him for Ko-fi to see all the entries. And
yeah, I think it is hard. I know it is hard to, you know what it's like making videos, man. It's bloody ridiculous. But
dude, like I entered the Squidmar competition this year, and I went through all of the entries for their I entered in their standard category. The cool thing was like both Emil and Lucas said like if you enter in the standard category and you don't quite know what you're doing, you're in a standard category. If you're at the level of master, we're gonna bump you into master. Yeah. So, and I don't consider myself a master. I am not egotistical. Like, I paint what I paint. It's for people to judge. I don't consider myself a master. I've been painting for 30 years on and off. I don't consider myself a master. I do what I do. Same thing with you. Same thing with everyone I bring on the show. We do what we do. Yeah. We're not egotistical about it. We just paint. But they said, if we consider you a master, we'll put you into master. If you win a gold in standard, you have to enter. We'll exclude you from entering standard next year. You have to enter master. But the whole point is, I entered in the standard category for all my stuff, and their single miniature category, it had to have been like at least 1,000 miniatures. I was scrolling for 20 minutes, and I was like not even 2/3 of the way down the page.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot.
Seeing what was entered was astronomical. So with I forgot what's the guy's name who runs Olden Demon? Dave?
Not Dave. Bloody hell, what's his name? I just call him Mr. Olden Demon.
Seeing all the entries in the video, I bought the coffee thing so I could see the video.
Yeah.
Seeing all the entries, dude, that's got to be a lot. Like for one dude, and I like with Emil and Lucas with Squidmar, over 1,000 entries in one category. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and with Squidmar as well, I guess they're kind of, it's not so niche, you know. With the Oldhammer competition, it's like you just got Oldhammer that it's got like a very specific, it's pre-2000, it miniatures pre-2000s and whatnot. So it's a little, and I suppose there's a lot less people kind of into Oldhammer as well. So you probably don't get as many, but I can imagine that the Squidmar comp, man, he's, they got a big channel. There's some, those boys are doing a lot of.
Well, I'm actually going to Golden Demon for the first time in my life this March here in the U.S. Like I'm actually going to go compete. Which has been a dream, man. It's been a dream since I was like 12 years old. Yeah, and I'm not anticipating. I'm not expecting anything. Like if I take home a pin, I'll piss my pants because it's like I got a pin from Golden Demon. But
dude, I sold my left arm for a pin there. So.
But going to Golden Demon. Where was I going with this? I'm going to Golden Demon in March, and just really excited about it, and looking forward to seeing everything in the cases. And I'm still trying to figure out the
that's the fun part. You know what I mean? Just go take a look at everyone's entries. Yeah.
I know I'm never going to be a miniature painter who places, because I've listened to like Zumakito. I've listened to Squidmar. What's the other one? I can't think of his name. But like listening to these guys talk about how they spend like 800 hours on like one miniature or 3 miniatures, I'm like, that's not fun.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like I'll happily spend 3.5 weeks painting one miniature.
Yeah. But
spending like 6 months, no.
Yeah, that's commitment, man. That's next level stuff. That's for me. I think I could. I don't know how I'd spend the time. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know. for me, it's like, man, 100 hours on one. But I guess they've got diorama and there's a lot of things going on.
I'll happily spend 100 hours painting one miniature.
Yeah, I'd do it too. But I don't know where. I'd just be like, I'd give up. I get really impatient. I feel like I'm very impatient painter.
Well, it's not even impatience. It's just that level of commitment for.
Yeah, it's huge.
Something that you're going to enter once, maybe twice, and have sitting on your shelf. I mean, for me, like, I'm trying to, like, what I'm trying to do with Old Grumpy Wolf is actually make it into something that makes me a living. And I'm not saying this in a greedy perspective. I'm saying it like making tutorials, making podcasts, painting my stuff, helping people out. Like this, actually helping people out is the biggest thing for me. Is I want to help teach people to paint.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've watched my tutorials, but like in my introduction, I always say, this is not a tutorial to get your miniature on the tabletop in 20 minutes. There's a lot of those on YouTube. Go watch those if you want to do that. This is not one of them. Yeah. This is something to teach you how to put something on your shelf to like make a display piece.
Yeah.
And even
something you can be proud of. Yeah.
Even at my fun level, I'll spend a couple days, maybe a week and a half on a fun level miniature, and I'm good with that because I need stuff to post. And to keep people engaged and to keep people inspired and to keep people looking. And I'm fine with that. And I'm not being a attention whore. I'm being someone who's like, I'm doing stuff and I will make tutorials for this and I'll teach you how to do this.
Yeah.
Don't ever put yourself off of painting because you can't achieve this. No, I want to help you achieve this. But dude, doing 800 hours, that's not fun.
It's a lot. That's a lot. Sometimes I feel like that way when I make videos.
Like even your stuff, like what you do in paint, like you're amazing at what you do.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah,
and, I'm sorry. I know where I was going with that.
Yeah.
What I think Golden Demon needs to do, especially since it's Games Workshop, is they need to have an Oldhammer category.
Yeah,
we're getting into that era where it's like you need to have an Oldhammer category.
I wish they did, but I just feel like that's not really the direction they'd go in because they won't make money off it, unfortunately. It's just another category for Golden Demon. It's another four or five things that people could enter, for 4 or 5 things that people like you and I could enter and happily enter. Yeah, I wish, man. I know. I wish. I feel like because I'm the same. I wish like my goal was one day. I was like, one day I'm just going to do some like a beautiful Oldhammer kind of diorama and enter it and just do the best of my ability and enter that. Just to put it on, just to put it in the shelf.
What you do is gorgeous.
Yeah, but like it's like I just know that it's not really like because it's. I know a lot of people do say it, and then you start to realize it is definitely for marketing purposes. Like it is definitely for marketing purposes for like Golden Demon and stuff like that. Unfortunately, but that's not to say you can't enter and do something really fun and wacky and out there.
Well, I mean, like perfect example. Hang on, perfect example. What the top tier painter, the modern Mike McVeigh that still works for Games Workshop, Darren Latham.
Yeah.
He still paints for modern Hammer stuff, but he's literally the modern Mike McVeigh via the Oldhammer stuff he does.
Yeah.
And people flock to
look at his work, it's top tier. Yeah.
I mean, we've totally trashed this episode of the show. I don't care. We're having fun Oldhammer person conversation. All y'all new people watching this, you can downvote all you want. We're having fun. It's a bunch. Don't do that. As I said in the Stephen K episode, who's another competitor in not Golden Demon, Olden Demon. This is what happens when you get 2 Oldhammer biddies together and we just start rambling.
Yeah.
So actually, hang on. On that note, let me get back into the show because I've been curious. What kind of paints do you use?
I use a mix. I use when I first got back into it, I kind of only used Citadel paints, and that was because they were just I had one hobby. I had a Warhammer shop and then like another hobby shop. They didn't really stock anything. They only kind of stocked Vallejo and Citadel paints. So when I first got back into it, I just went up and bought, as you do, the paints that you can get.
Oh, that's what I bought when I got back into this.
Yeah, and I bought just a bunch of Citadel paints, but now I'm moving towards like recently. I've kind of got my favorite paints for everything. But I've got a bunch of Pro Acryl paints.
Oh, nice.
So I got a bunch of Pro Acryl paints which I was gifted, and I'm finding them like really good. And I'm also got a bunch of AK paints, so I kind of mix it in now. Like it just depends on what my recipes are. Like I still have my reds. Some of my reds are Citadel. Like I really love Eagle Sun Scarlet and stuff like that. That's
please tell me you've tried Pro Krill Pyro Red.
No, I haven't actually yet. So I haven't tried that yet. But I do use Pro Krill Burnt Red. So I'm using Pro Krill Burnt Red kind of as my base these days, and then I move on to that. I also have like a couple too thin coats paints. I got a mix, but recently I have been like moving over to Pro Krill a lot more. I'm like, I really like, I don't know, they're just their finish, they're just so much better. They're really good.
They function a lot like old Citadel paints. However, I will say like me getting back into painting in 24, my painting bestie recommended Vallejo to me. And I found Vallejo paints were a lot like old Citadel paints, like 80s and 90s. And then the Pro Krill stuff was like the 2000 paints. Yeah.
I had some good, Vallejo for me, like I like some of their paints, like and the yellows and stuff like that. There was not their yellows, sorry, they're kind of like they're browns and stuff like that. But I did have a problems with some of their greens. I was a bit like they're like dark greens. They were kind of like a bit choppy, but I don't know. I bought like a box when I first started. I got back into it. And I had like a box. You know, you get the starter box of like Vallejo paints. They worked really well. There's a few paints which I kind of swapped in and swapped out. But I think like that's a part of the hobby. You know, when you get into it, you kind of like swap it in, swap it out, try something new. Like when I go to like the hobby shop now they've got much better paints there these days. So I walk in there and I'm like looking at the shop and go, you know what? I'm just going to give that a try. And then it kind of like I'll put it together with a miniature that I kind of like. I'm like, oh, that like, you know, oh, that light purple looks really good. Maybe I should paint, like I haven't painted anything purple in a while. Maybe I could paint something, you know, with that. So yeah, that's the way I kind of operate with my paints as well. So, but no, I've got like a bunch of different, I want to get into though some Pro Krill, like, what's it Pro Krill? Oh, someone suggests, you know, Wizards and Whiskey, Ben, he's on Instagram. Ben, really nice bloke, top bloke. He kind of like, when I first started, I had, you know, having a lot of chats with him and he's like, oh, you know, try this and try that. So he kind of helped me out, but he's been recommending to me some new true metallic metals. And I think there may be Pro Krill or there might be, I'm not too sure what they are, but I've got to remember what they are. But
Ben's big on like AK stuff and Pro Krill stuff. So
and he's
a buddy of mine. I like Ben. He's a good guy.
Yeah, real talented too. Real talented painter. If you haven't seen him, you go check him out. He's like, you know, the pinnacle of Oldhammer painting.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get him on the show. I think he's going to come on possibly if he's leaning more and more towards it, so I might have him on like in June.
Yeah, I'll try to twist his arm.
Probably won't come out until like November or December. No, the three colors for reds I'll recommend to you is Pro Krill Pyro Red, Pro Krill Orange Red, and Pro Krill Orange. Like, yeah, I'll take. They're the best tri-tier of reds you'll ever use for highlighting up like old school Warhammer. They layer glaze so easily.
Yeah.
They take water so well and thin out and layer glow so easily. Like Pyro Red is one of the boldest reds you'll ever use. Like it needs to come with a volume knob.
I'll give it a crack because I really do. Like that's the only thing. Like I do love my Evil Sun Scarlet. It's just I find it hard to. I used some Vallejo reds and I just like no.
Try Pyro Red. You'll take that. You'll take that Evil Sun's red and just out the window.
Yeah, I'll give it a crack.
It oddly enough, like Pyro Red takes a little bit longer to dry than most reds, but dude, it is just what I like. You see my Blood Angels all down at the bottom corner of the screen. My Blood Angels all start at Pyro Red base coat, and it is just it's such a bold red. Yeah. And it just
I like that. I'll have to give it a go.
Yeah, it's a great red. Just definitely give it a shot.
I paint red with bloody everything. Like every video I do, I'm like, oh, that's got red on it. And so now I'm starting to skip my, like, you know, I show the process and stuff. I'm just like, okay, guys, you've seen enough red.
Well, I mean, you're advanced enough, so you understand what I'm talking about. Like, you thin it out. It takes 2 to 3 coats to cover up black. Like, if you're making correction, 2 to 3 thinned out coats, correction over black, perfectly. Can't see a black.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'll give it a go then. I feel like Pro Krill they are like, you know, some of the best paints right now. So
yeah, they're Pyro Red, Orange Red, and Orange. There's nothing that compares. Period. They've just nailed it.
Don't forget.
No, I bought a couple. Like I bought some. I had Vallejo reds. They were okay. I also have a bunch of AK reds that I bought for my my Rhino and Land Raider project that I did for the local owner of Warhammer here in town. And like the AK reds are just, they're super thin. They're kind of goopy. They're hard to work with, but compared to Pro Acryl, those three red, the Pyro Red, Orange Red, and Orange from Pro Acryl, that's my go-to, period. Just give it a shot. You'll like them. I guarantee you'll like them.
Done. I'll give it a go. Definitely give it a go, because I'm using some like AK Intense, like blues and stuff like that, and they're pretty good too for blue. So I've been mixing those into my recipes. So yeah, no, I'll definitely give them a go, man. I'm keen.
So, to go back into the show, because we're getting into like the 1 hour mark, I do want to ask, who influenced your painting style?
Who influenced my painting style? I wouldn't say it's one person, really.
Doesn't have to be one person.
It's because for me, it's more like it's just trying to match up with like, just trying to match up with like what I envisioned as a kid, if that makes sense. It's more to do with that. I wouldn't say it's like one person. It's more like when I start painting my miniatures, I'm like, how can I get this to be the most Warhammer of Warhammer?
Oh, dude, I've got like 10, 15 people that influence my stuff. So
yeah, and like, like even like you say, like Mike McVeigh and stuff like that, and all those guys back in the day, they definitely like that, like, they're like gods.
The foundations.
When you're a kid, and you look at and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. These are it's great. And then so it's not really it was trying to like, there's a lot of modern painters, even like, you say Darren Latham and stuff like that. When I got back into it, and I was, you'd scroll on Instagram and you'd look through and you'd see like Darren Latham, the way he paints. And I suppose it's just a heavy metal, the heavy metal kind of vibe that you kind of go for. But mixing, it's like, I don't know, I feel like there's still a style there that, everyone has their own style, if that makes sense. You can still paint Oldhammer, but have your own way of doing things. But even getting back into it, like you'd look at, I just got, when I got back into it as well, I just went out and bought a bunch of like White Dwarf magazines and just like flick through, just to get back in the groove.
Let's not talk about the amount of money we spent on Oldhammer stuff.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's the thing. It's kind of like I went back through and I just tried to match up. I tried to paint like what I envision. And for me, it's just getting colors as bold as possible, as bold as possible, and as well read as possible, so you can actually read it, like read the miniature really well. But like
actually, it's funny how uncommon that is now.
Yeah, and I like there's a lot of like I do get a lot of like, it's funny because like I do get a lot of comments on my YouTube every now and then. People are like, just do a wash, man. Just do do this.
Why isn't it more realistic?
Yeah, no, just do a wash. Just smash through it faster. But,
the one I hate. Just throw some Noan oil on it.
Yeah, and
ban.
But that is definitely, I think definitely like that is, if that's how you want to paint, like do it. 100%, man. Like I'm not really trying to paint to speed paint, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to be fast. I just want to try, as I said, make it look like something that I can be proud of, and that like gives me those vibes. So when I put it in my cabinet, I'm looking at an old magazine or an old. I'm like that. That's the kind of way I like to paint. The cool thing is, like, I
asked a couple of the judges on my stuff at Las Vegas Open about like why I managed to do as well as I do, and they're like, "Dude, you're like the new Neil Thompson. Like, your models are so easy to read. Like, no matter what angle you look at them from, they look good because you highlight everything, you edge highlight everything, you shade everything, you paint everything. Your models are easy to look at from any angle, period. You can light them from any angle and they work." So I think that is kind of, it's very much also what you do as well.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, I know, you hear like a lot of like, there's some like amazing painters out there, and they're like, you're doing like volumetric this and lighting, and then like, and for me, it's more like I don't know. It's kind of like I tend to try to do like a little bit of like when I try to incorporate like maybe a little bit of lighting in here and there, but not really. Like it's not like I'm really. It's just to try and make it a little bit more readable. But like I like to have like my miniatures more like action figures, I guess, if that's the way of putting it. Do you know what I mean? Like not like I don't mean that in like, because action figures aren't really.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
but like you can see everything. Like you can read everything, and the book's painted like a book, and and like if he's holding this and he's got a ring on, or he's got a sword. So that's the way I kind of like I like to kind of paint that. Yeah, like as you said, it's all well readable. Yeah. But to have bright, vibrant colors and to just to be a lot of fun, I guess, as well. Like that's another thing I think. Like with the Oldhammers, they're like, you look at them, they're kind of fun. They're not really the grim dark and all that stuff. I really do love that. I just don't know how I would paint that. Like, to me in my brain, I'm like, all right, how would I do that? You know,
yeah.
I can't. I don't know how they. I don't know. And I see some really great, like, people do grim dark painting, and you see like Trench Crusade and all that stuff that's out now. And so people doing some really cool stuff.
Dude,
with that.
the one thing I will say about Trench Crusade,
like, how.
The one thing I'll say about Trench Crusade is their demons are so cool looking.
Yeah.
It's like
cool.
stuff like GW sculptors want to do, but they can't do because they got to keep everything like PG now.
Yeah, no, and it's kind of like I look at their Trench Crusade stuff, and I'm like, wow, it's really cool. Like, I'm like, that's really cool.
The infantry stuff, I don't want to touch. The demons, bring them on. Like, this is like Slanesh and Korn and like Nurgle times 1,000.
Yeah. They're wild. It's wild. I've been getting into a bit of the Trench Crusade lore as well. I've been like, looking at
the lore is friggin' cool. Like, they need to they need to release some written novels, because like that would be great to read. That would easily like compete with like Horus Heresy and Black Library.
I love a good map. I don't know, and I just looked at their like the Trench Crusade map of like all their and I'm just like, wow, like that's a good map.
Yeah,
so
like Trench Crusade Trench Crusade is like Doom, but in like World War I.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's a good idea. So yeah.
I if they brought out like novels, like storyline wise, I would read the hell out of them.
100%. I would too.
Like watching Louise's video that she did, the Rogue Hobbies about Trench Crusade, just her explaining all this stuff and like showing off all the models. Like, bro, y'all need to get on like the
really
novelization.
Cool. I love that World War I aesthetic.
You need to get on the novelization tick, because like your lore, it's really good. Like the whole idea of like we found hell in World War I and it started invading our world. That's like the modern Doom series. You have Doom, which is futuristic, and then like the new Doom they released is like kind of Quake based, so it's Lovecraft based. But it's like Trench Crusade would be like World War I, Quake, Lovecraftian awesomeness.
Yeah, that's why I love that. Well, it's kind of like, and even if you look at some of the miniatures, it's like World War I aesthetic, but they still have that, like, I suppose it's like there's a bit of like a medieval kind of flair to it as well, which looks really good too. So yeah, they've got the aesthetic down with that as well. So it'd be interesting. Maybe one day I might give one a go, give one a crack at trying to do a grim dark paint scheme. But some people have asked me before, but I'm like, I don't know. Like,
I can't get into the infantry. It's too Imperial Guard. Like the only faction of Imperial Guard I like is Sisters of Battle and Sisters of Silence.
Yeah.
And mainly Sisters of Silence, because like you don't mess with Sisters of Silence. They'll kill you 7 times before you hit the ground. Yeah. But like Sisters of Battle is I don't even know if they're considered an Imperial Guard faction anymore. But when they came out, they were a faction of Imperial Guard. But Sisters of Battle, like I mean, space nuns, hot space nuns. But no, they're space nuns. And outside of that, like Imperial Guard is just like one of the guys I had on the show last season, a younger fellow, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but like his Imperial Guard painting was like box art great. But I'm just like, ever since I got into 40K, I have never wanted to paint Imperial Guard.
Yeah, I eventually want to paint some old Catachans. I think they're cool.
I like Catachan because they're Arnold Schwarzenegger from Predator.
Yeah, I know. That's why I like them. I think they're cool. They give me the 80s, 90s aesthetic as well. So I think they do really well. So I saw some pretty cool versions, like some pretty cool paint jobs of them in Old Demon last year. So
well, this is the one time I'll be able to do this on the show. For like my impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger, get to the rhino, go now, go, the rhino. Perfect. Sorry.
10 out of 10.
Sweet, I win.
Yeah, you win.
Hang on. So, we'll get into. I want to actually get into your Instagram, and we'll chat versus after that. But the big question, what I usually end the segment of the show with, is what advice would you give to miniature painters just starting out who want to get to help them avoid the pitfalls that you've encountered?
Okay. Ooh, good question. I would say, I think I've said this before, but I would say paint a variety of things. And I I think paint a variety of miniatures, but know what you like. Kind of have a understanding of what you want to do. Do you want to be? It's like what I said before. Some people are like, just paint it quick. If you want to paint it quick, then don't sweat the small stuff and stuff like that. And it's really a mindset thing. But I would say painting a variety of miniatures. Really, I think that's what. Like I was very lucky because as I said, I bought like a bunch of these different minis, and I was painting wood elves. I was painting. High elves, and then I realized, and I really wanted to paint high elves. I loved high elves, but painting them was so painful because painting white is it's a bit of a. So I kind of got turned off that, and then I kind of went to Chaos Dwarves where I could paint reds and blacks, and I could learn that. But I think painting a variety of miniatures, it doesn't, and that will like benefit you. You know, you're doing different things, and you're kind of remembering different things. And it's funny how things come back around. It's even like. You'd be painting browns, and then you're like, wait a second, what if I just do a bit of green here instead or something like that? And yeah, I think painting a variety of miniatures really is the way. If you want to kind of diversify and become like an better all-round painter, I think the variety miniatures is the way to go. You don't have to stick to one thing. Have a group of miniatures that you like painting. And I think the main thing as well, I know this sounds just like whatever, but it's having fun. It's having fun because for me, I paint whatever I feel like in that moment. I won't paint something like I have done in the past where I painted stuff because I put up a poll or something on my YouTube channel. Everyone's like, yeah, let's go do this. I'm like, okay, I'll paint that. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? And like, I have had moments like that. So I think, painting a variety of things.
Well, painting a variety of things will give you access and experience. Insight, the word I'm looking for. It'll give you insight to a lot of different ways that you can paint.
Yeah, and
because it's like painting Space Marines is not like painting orcs. It's not like painting Tyranids. It's not like painting dwarves. It's not like painting elves.
Yeah,
each one has their own thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and it's like funny because like with some things you'll learn different things with. So it's like for me, it's like you'll learn true metallic metals and whites if you paint high elves, but if you want to learn how to do hair really well and you start painting dwarves because they've got so many bloody beards
or wood elves,
you know what I mean? So you'll start to do that, and then obviously if you paint some wood elves, you're going to like do your more olive greens and your darker greens. Yeah, exactly.
I am Fabio.
Yeah, exactly, and you'll learn those things, and then with orcs and goblins or orcs, whatever 40k. You'll very well. So yeah. So I think. Oh, sorry, I might have frozen just then.
Yeah, you did a little bit. You're fine. You're catching back up.
Yeah, sorry, it's raining. You've got some.
You're fine.
Thunderstorm going on outside. But no, but it's I think variety of things, painting a bunch of different things. That's going to progress you a lot faster, and just having fun and making sure like the miniatures you're painting are fun. You're enjoying yourself because. And you'll burn out quick, man. Like when doing batch painting really kills me. I hate it.
I've been doing that all week.
Yeah, I know. I just do it every now and then just to kind of keep me sharp. And I do enjoy the end process of batch painting.
The cool thing I will say about batch painting is as you get better at painting, and especially if you like submit yourself to batch painting, it gets faster and faster. It may not seem like it at first, but if you do it after I think this is like the 5th or 6th set of miniatures I painted batch wise. Yeah. Instead of taking me 3 weeks, it's taking me a week and a half.
Yeah.
But I've paid attention to this is versus painting Space Wolves. Sorry, Space Wolves versus Ultramarines. Use it versus twice.
Yeah.
Right.
And you must.
I paid a lot of attention doing the Space Wolves versus my Ultramarines, and my Ultramarines both are at my fun scale. Or fun level, but I was really paying attention to what I did with Ultramarines to make them go a bit faster than my Space Wolves. And my Space Wolves took me 3.5 weeks. I literally finished my squad of 6 the day of Las Vegas Open at 4:30 in the morning. Jeez, the squad of Ultramarines.
Yeah. And that's
what
I'm saying.
On for a week and a half, actually 2 weeks. And after tomorrow, my gal's got to work tomorrow night, so I get to finish up the missile launcher for the 2nd edition missile launcher for my Ultramarines, which is a whole different mini. But no, I get to finish that up, and all I've got left is backpacks.
Yeah, exactly.
And I started the backpacks last night, and they'll take me a day or two. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like once you start, like learning. What I was saying before is like your muscle memory. Like you actually do gain muscle memory, and sometimes I feel like I'm going backwards with my painting, and sometimes I feel like I'm going forwards.
Well, it's kind of like this. It's weird... not necessarily muscle memory. It's memory. It's figuring out your formula for the paints that you're using.
Yeah, but also even applying paint as well. I think. Yeah. Well,
I mean that's inclusive in that.
Yeah. Yeah, like in applying paint, because like when I first started, I look at my miniatures, like surface areas and stuff like that. I'm like, Jesus, what did I do here? Like I was bloody, I was going a bit hard here. I wasn't glazing. I didn't have the right consistency and stuff like that. But yeah, you learn all that as well. And like I think your equipment, like when I first started, man, I did not have good paintbrushes. I painted some really good miniatures with some really bad.
Oh, dude, I just hold on.
Yeah, and people say to me, paintbrushes, and it's definitely a thing. Like, definitely get good paintbrushes. But when I first started, I wasn't really worried about that, and I still painted some miniatures that I'm proud of. And then you slowly learn, like, okay, I'll upgrade my paintbrushes now. I'll upgrade my paints now. You don't need to have all the gear straight up. No, you absolutely don't. Yeah, you don't need to have everything straight up. You just have a good time, really. That's what it's all about.
What you were talking about paintbrushes, I just picked up. I bought a load of different sizes, but the Vallejo Pro Modeler series.
Okay, yeah.
And the Pro Modeler size 1, dude, that is now my go-to brush. It's a longer brush. It's got a giant bulb at the end and a super fine point. I've beat the hell out of it over the last 2 weeks. Yeah. It still comes to like a seriously fine point. I am in love with this brush. Yeah, nice. And because the bulb is so... Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm saying, one thing I was going to say with that.
Go ahead.
Get yourself some brush soap.
Yeah. Well,
my brushes have lasted me for like 8 months now. When at the start they were brush soap, man, it's like it's changed.
I started cleaning my brushes when they get my old brush collection on my desk, plus my Citadel brushes. I was cleaning them with alcohol, and it was making the bristles really brittle. But the thing I've actually learned about the Citadel brushes, I don't know what bristles, like hair, they're using, but I found with that Vallejo brush, over the last 2.5 weeks of me painting my ultramarines, it still comes down to an ultra fine point. I've been a huge fan of Citadel small layer brushes, which for Oldhammer people were the old Citadel detail brushes.
Yeah, yeah.
I go through one of those like once every 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, yeah.
And just like with the Vallejo brush, because it has such a large bulb before the actual metal base of the tip.
Yeah.
That it keeps so much moisture in it that I rinse my brushes out every couple of minutes, especially working with AK, and you live in a desert, so you know what I'm talking about. AK joints are very... Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got like a lot of humidity though, so mine I'm kind of lucky. I feel like but the thing is though, I have to put the aircon on. I have to put the air conditioning on because it is hot.
Oh yeah,
so hot
yeah.
It doesn't dry out.
Well, fortunately, I have central AC in my house, so it's a little different than AU.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got so much bloody. It's like it gets pretty dry, but I really do think like I haven't bought new brushes in a long time. That's because I just use brush soap now, and I've
thought about trying that stuff. I can actually see the value of it because I think there's moisturizer in it for the bristles.
It just gives them a good clean, and you can reshape the point after you use it. So when you put the brush away, you're just reshaping the point, and it kind of stays. So to clean it, and then you're reshaping the point so it lasts longer. I've had this brush. Where is it? See, and the thing about me is everyone like says to me I use like too small brushes, and I know I use real like fine brushes. I don't know what, I think it's from when I was drawing and doing illustration work. I've always used like pens and stuff like that, and ink, like pens. So I've always used and I've always been really close up painting. So I find it really hard to use like size 1 brushes and stuff like that.
Well, tipping on what you were saying, no pun intended at all. I've seen in numerous videos, including Flame On Miniatures, talking about using a long brush that has a large bulb and a very fine tip. Yeah. And now I'm actually starting to see with that Vallejo brush what they were talking about, because as I was going to say before we went into what you were talking about, because it has such a large bulb, it holds a ton of moisture. So paint can't dry up toward the base of toward the metal base of the brush.
Yeah.
And constantly rinsing it out. And the way I do it is like I'll kind of bend the bristles on I have microfiber rags that I use below my miniatures. I'll take my brush and kind of bend it and then twist it and force all the paint out of the tip.
Yeah, yeah.
And it keeps the bulb, the end of the bulb toward the metal base from building up with paint. But now I'm seeing what like Flame On Miniatures and other people say, like find brushes that come to an insanely fine tip that have a large bulb and are long.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to understand what they're talking about, because I don't think I've found one bristle that's fallen out. I've switched over to excuse me, mainly from my painting tutorials coming up. I'm using a black microfiber rag.
Yeah.
So that way when I'm holding the miniature, the camera doesn't focus on my skin because it's losing it behind a light colored rag.
Nothing worse than painting miniatures on camera. It's the absolute pits.
That's a whole other half an hour podcast bantering.
That's a whole other conversation, which we don't want to go in because I'll be whinging.
But I found that like I found like out of all the times I've wrung out the water and paint from my Vallejo brush, I found 2 bristles that have fallen out on my paint rag versus my Citadel small detail brush, where like every time I wring it out on my paint rag, there's 2 more bristles, there's 2 more bristles, there's 2 more bristles, to the point where it comes down to like
that's crazy. Yeah, I haven't had that happen to me before, so yeah.
It might be a Citadel thing. Like I like their brushes, but I go through Citadel fine layer or small layer brushes. Like I'll go through one every 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas this Vallejo brush, I'm beating the crap out of it for a test purpose because it's just working out so well. And I'm like, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. I want to see where you are in like 2 months.
Yeah.
But judging with what I've got right now, I'm like, I might still love you in 2 months.
Yeah. Get some brush soap. It'll last forever.
And this is going to be totally out of order because it'll come way early in the episodes, but I just thought of it.
That's
what brushes do you use? Since we just had a conversation about it.
I use like a bunch of different ones. I use like some cheapies just for my layers. I just kind of go to the craft store and just get some cheap ones. And just use some cheap ones for my. I use different.
Oh, dude, I use a cheap hobby store brush that Tooth and Coats had on hand. And at LVO like January of 25, some of those cheap hobby store brushes are actually pretty good. Yeah,
they're pretty good, and they do like they're like kind of like my workhorse brushes. But for other things, I use like I have some I've got some like Kalinskis that I use every now and then as well. But I save those for my when I'm kind of like doing something for Old Demon, or if it's a mini I really, really like, I just kind of save it for them. But I've also just got some, my go-to, which is, it's an army painter, like Psycho brush.
Oh, okay.
And it's got like the skinniest little, it's got like 3 bristles on the thing. But
I've seen that
this
brush.
is what I use for I use this for my all, like, so I kind of work my way through, I use my bigger brushes for my layers, and then I go work my way through maybe like the Kalinski for like, the next set of edge highlights, and then for the very final stuff, for the very fine stuff, and for faces and stuff like that, I use the it's called a Wargamer Psycho brush, and I just like it because it's so tiny, it's just skinny, and I can kind of get in there and put all the details in the faces and just little spot highlights and stuff like that with that brush. So they're kind of what I use, and then I just kind of have some cheapies just for my washes, if I'm ever putting a wash over something like that as well. So I just use some cheap brushes, but for that I've got some Kalinskis, and then I also have what else do I have? They're not even I don't even know what brand that is, but I just use kind of some cheap ones, and then some just some skinnier brushes for when I get down to the nitty gritty.
Okay, fair enough. My thing with asking is like I've had painters who are like 3-4 levels above my pay grade of painting, like Golden Demon winners, like recommend me like, oh, you should try this brush, you should try that brush, and I'm like, I don't want to spend $30 on a brush just to find I don't like it. Like, it's such a waste of money.
Yeah, it is a hard thing. I was lucky.
It feels like the brush thing is very subjective.
Yeah, it is, but the thing is, they do like it's. You do notice when I use the like when I do the Kalinskis at the start, I never used the Kalinski brushes even when I first started my channel. But then I got onto them and I was like, actually, like these do like they hold paint very well as well. Like what you're saying with your like, so they do hold paint very well, and they do perform like brushes. I suppose when you paint for so long, they do perform differently. Everything kind of performs like as you said. You know, you might not like it, so they do perform differently. But I have found my Kalinskis are really good for kind of when I'm, you know, I do pull them out when I want to do something like really, you know, I want the paint to work really well. But yeah, I don't know. I not every single miniature I paint, I want it to be like I do want it to be the best I possibly can be, but it's not like I need the finish to be too bloody good, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy with what I do. So I've got the Kalinskis there.
You still have the object of fun in what you do.
Yeah, and I have like, you know, and I've got like army painter brushes as well, just for layering and stuff like that. And it just depends on the size of the miniature, what brush I use for, you know, different things. So yeah, so it is what it is. And yeah, like I don't know, I've got like a pile of like I got to throw out some old brushes. I've got a pile here. Like,
dude, that is so hard to do. You're like, I can use you for something. I don't want to throw you away.
Yeah, and so I'll use these for dry brushing or something eventually, but yeah, I never do. So I gotta throw some out. I've got so much sitting there. So, yeah.
I have a tin in my Warhammer box next to my desk where I hide all the stuff I need to paint, so I don't have to look at it. But I have a tin in there of like all my used up brushes that I've bought over the last couple of years, and I'm like, you're going in the tin. I can't throw you away.
Yeah. You look at it, I could get a use out of this, but yeah. Now I'm looking at them now, going.
But you break open a new brush, and you're like, yeah, oh, this is good. I could use this for everything.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes I'm at we're in the shops or whatever, and I'll just quickly go past like a hobby shop or not like just a craft shop, and I'm like, you know what, I could probably use that brush for something. You know, like I look at it and go, I could use that brush for something. It's not really meant for mini painting, but I could use that. And honestly, I went.
Go ahead.
Oh, when I went to Japan, I got some brushes. I got to use those.
Please tell me you hit Josh up.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Josh. Yeah. I went. He invited me and the miso up to his place, so we took a train for a couple of hours from Tokyo. It was like when we were finishing up, and I went and popped in and said hello, and we just had lunch there, and he took us out to this amazing festival, like this, like I think it was like a cherry blossom. It wasn't a.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he took us to I think it was a cherry blossom. I think it was a plum blossom. It was a plum. It was before cherry blossom. We were just before cherry blossom. We went to a plum blossom festival.
So it was like spring.
Yeah, we were heading out. Yeah, we were just heading out of winter, so it was still cold. It was still bloody cold. It was actually it snowed a little bit while we were there.
You're not in a desert.
Yeah, no, it was like it was pretty. It was very it was nice and cold, but it was good seeing Josh, and you know he's a legend himself.
Oh, so, I love Josh. He's great. So, like he's so fun to talk to.
Yeah, he's top bloke. I love Josh. He's really funny and he's really accommodating. Invited us, and we met his wife and his kid, and you know, he took me around, and we just went up there for the day and visited him, and we didn't get to play any games or do any painting or anything like that. You know, I didn't have too much time. But
the funny thing is, Dave Perry lives near him.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. He said he's got a bunch of like Oldhammer guys around him too. Yeah. So,
well, I talked to Dave like I think 2 episodes ago, and dude, you'll love Dave's episode. Like listening to him go on about like him working at 90s heavy metal.
Yeah, awesome,
Dave just loves what he just loves painting. He loves what he did at the studio, and I mean, just between Dave and Josh, like those guys are just awesome. They're so much fun.
Yeah, legends, man, legends, absolute legends. Yeah.
So, like we're an hour and a half in. I want to dive into your Instagram feed because there's a couple models I wanted to ask you about.
Yep.
Let me pull up my interact window for Instagram. So, that old Snotling pump wagon, that is so cool. So yeah, I mean, obviously listen to you through the show. Oh, Man of War, hell yeah! Listening to you through the show, you're more into the fantasy tip. But one thing I did love about what you painted, I loved your Mephiston. This is so cool. Yeah. I actually just bought him again.
Yeah, it's great mini. He's actually I painted that I got commended for that
for Olden. Yeah,
that's I like, as much as I loved it, I felt like my wood elf was better. I was like, I painted a wood elf.
Wait, you made a video about this, didn't you?
Yeah, I did a video
Okay.
for that one. I do a video of every single miniature I paint. I do
Oh,
a
wow.
video for. Yeah, it's kind of whatever I'm feeling in the moment. I'll make a video about it. I don't know. I like documenting it, and I just like having fun with it. But yeah, I painted him for Old Demon, and I chose him because I know I can do, like, I feel like I can do red really well. The year before I didn't do as well. I painted like I think I painted like a Space Wolf, and it was a bit like, I liked it, but I didn't get the finish I wanted. So I was trying to play with my strengths and go with red and stuff like that. But no, you don't realize how small his bloody face is until you're painting it. And I was like, oh geez, he's got really, really tiny. And that's the thing about some old hammers, they're tiny, man. Like, they're so much smaller than modern sculpts. But I painted him for last year's competition. I don't know if I'm going to do a 40k entry for this year for Old Demon. I think I'm just going to do to go to an art category, which I'm going to do, and then an open, and then probably do a fantasy. I don't know if I'm going to do a 40k one this year.
So, hinging on what you're saying about faces,
yeah,
Jess got so much better at faces as he went along, because painting this old guy,
what was it?
He's the old Blood Angel, Ultramarine Sarge.
Yeah.
Dude, his face is so horrible.
Yeah. They're hard. The Oldhammer faces are kind of hard because you got to kind of like, you got to kind of like make lines and make, and like I try to give them as much detail. Like I try to make wrinkles and paint wrinkles and stuff like that on them. I think that's really important to try to give them
you did an absolute top job in this. This thing is gorgeous. Like, this is so the thing, like, so I rebought this and in the late 90s, it was the last time I painted him.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I had an old Fabius Bile. Yeah. And I snapped his arm off with the cane, with a skull.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I painted up Mephiston again, I put the skull cane on him. So he had the pimp cane.
Yeah, right.
And I want to go on eBay because I'm gonna paint a new one. I want to go on eBay and buy the Fabius Bile skull cane hand again and put it back on the Fiston, so he has 100%. The pimp skull cane again.
It would set it off, yeah.
Dude, it works so perfectly with the model because Mephiston doesn't look. When you put the skull cane on it from a Fabius, it's like, no, this just works.
Yeah,
because he's been through the Black Rage twice. He pimping.
He rocks it, yeah, and it's like it makes sense, all the skulls and whatnot, so it'll definitely fit in. So yeah.
Hang on. There was another one I want to talk to you about. Oh, that thing was gorgeous. I love that model. This your Slan. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
I want to still pictures. Friggin' stupid OBS. There we go. Your Slan is gorgeous. That thing is beautiful. I remember when that came out, and that was like that came out the summer. Right before the summer that I went to England with my mom and my dad, to visit family. It was my first time in England, and that model had just come out. And like every Games Workshop store that I visited, like their top painter had that in the case.
Yeah.
So your Slan is gorgeous.
Thanks, man. That's the worst experience I've had painting a miniature.
Oh, why?
It is that thing to glue together. So I painted sub-assembled, but that thing to glue together and tri-stick together was an absolute nightmare.
Oh, you didn't pre-fit them?
I was struggling. No, I painted them all sub-assembled.
So you didn't pre-fit before sub-assembled or before painting?
What do you mean? Sorry?
Like you basically so with old metal multi-piece miniatures Slan, you file it down, you get everything to fit, and then you paint it.
Yeah. Yeah. I pre-fit it all, but the issue with it is that, so you see how so basically you got the slaughter tray for the temple guards.
Oh, for the carriers,
tray. Yeah, so you got the tray, and then they're both joining on with one arm. They have that rail. And the issue was like kind of the way the rail sits, you can't get inside the inner arm and paint the inner arm. So I had to paint the rail separately. So I was painting the rail separately. I had to flip the rail. And there's nowhere to pin it and to kind of pin it and wire it, unfortunately, because the rail itself is very thin. Yeah. So I had to paint one side, flip it, and then paint the other side. And then having the temple guard on the same like slaughter base just wasn't going to work, so I couldn't paint them on the same thing, so I had to paint them separately. And then fitting the Slan on as well after, you got to kind of like really like onto his little throne, you got to kind of twist him and kind of get him on there nicely. So I was struggling with that one, and then just to stick the back, I used like epoxy glue and whatnot for mine, but just the back as well. There was just those back two feathers. It was an absolute. If you watch the video, you'll see I'm whinging the whole time because I'm like, this is an absolute nightmare. But you know what? Like, dude, in saying that, it was really great.
All I'll say,
but it was the hardest miniature I've had to glue together. And I even the dragon, like I painted a wood elf dragon. You know, that was easier to glue together than this thing.
Have you seen the new Salon?
Which one? The latest,
the modern, one? The current Salon.
Yeah.
I saw that in person in plastic.
Yeah.
Is nothing like what you're talking about as far as difficulty. It's like 74,000 pieces. It's sub-assembly nightmare.
Yeah, I bet. It was just the hard thing for me was just getting the, you know what I mean? Like when you're gluing it together, just trying to, because you can't use like, you know, cement and stuff like that. It's kind of like when you're using metal, when you're pinning and stuff like that with metal miniatures, especially if they're doing it sub-assembled, it's a little bit, you kind of like, you got to be careful. You don't want to scratch off the paint, and it just becomes a bit of a nightmare. But no, the plastic kits, you can see they've got so much details and stuff like that. It was more like gluing it together in the end and trying not to scratch it up. That was
well, I can see a little bit about what you're talking about, like how the assembly with the carriers, like the figures on the right, the base is slightly lifted up on the corner. So I can, like, and I'm not negatively critiquing. It's just I can understand what you're talking about with the difficulty of it, because like for new Hammer people watching the show, like us Oldhammer folk, multi-piece metal models going together and getting correct was kind of a nightmare.
It is, and that was the hard thing, was like lining them up to be. Do you know what I mean? The lining up of, and you only get really like one chance, and like you get one chance after you put much effort into a paint job, and you don't want to scratch it. Well,
even if you do this like in like pre-assembly, where you get everything like, you know, like filed down and scraped out and pre-fit. Like me with my Ultramarines right now doing the second edition missile launcher. I had to the missile launcher's not done, but I dotted out with paint where the missile launcher lands on the mounting point on his arm piece. You know, drilling that stuff out was not easy. It was very like tedious. Like you had, unless you know what you're doing modeling wise, you would mess it up. And with seeing the modern plastic version of this, like it's a nightmare. But like for modern Hammer folk, old metal models like this were not easy to do. And I appreciate what you did with this, because this is very well done.
Thanks. Appreciate it. No, it was.
Go ahead.
And as much as I say it was hard, I still, when you finish it, it was a very good feeling to paint.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, and that's
this thing's gorgeous.
Miniature for myself. Yeah, it's a bucket list mini. So you know what I mean. You get those ones that you remember from when you're a kid, and that was definitely one as well. So I would have made my neighbor proud. My lizard men collecting neighbor proud. He would have loved that. When we were kids, so.
Like painting wise, what I really like about this is like you've got the blues on the lizard men at the bottom, plus the bone on their heads. You've got red in the, you can't see my mouse, unfortunately. You've got the red in the throne where he's sitting. And then you've got the woodland, old color for old Hammer people like us. You've got the woodland greens of his skin. You got the yellows of his stomach and his chest, the bones surrounding him. And then you've got the unifying color through all of them, the nice bronzy golds on the weapons of the lizard men, their nose pieces, the throne lift details, the scepter,
like the copper,
and the copper coming off the back of the throne. And then you've got these really cool like purple and pink colors on the feathers.
And I drew a bit of wet blending up there, so trying to do some different techniques and stuff like that. So and for me, like lizard men are exotic. And I live in a bit of a tropical place with a lot of frogs and a lot of like nature around me as well. So I was like really channeling that. So it was something I wanted to make, like this. And I think Ben, Whiskey and Wizards, he really inspired me too, because he's painted a really nice slan as well. He's painted a real, like if you take a look at his, he's like
Whiskey and Wizards. Ben, I want you on the show.
He painted.
So does Anvil of Doom.
And it was like I looked at his and I'm like, you know what? I just want to, like, I got inspired by him, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna I'm going to try my best to push this thing. And I didn't get a really good photo, but even the sword, like the temple guard, I really like the color scheme I used for that. I just grabbed this box there. They've got some
wow,
stories in a box. So
I remember those.
I'm gonna give those the same paint job very soon. So
well, no, like what I was going to finish with about the whole miniature as itself is you've got a variety of colors going like throughout the whole model, and nothing is offensive. Nothing is out of place. Nothing stands out and says like, I did this wrong. Everything works for the model itself because you've got the lizardmen at the bottom who are troops. You've got the Slan in the middle, who is the centerpiece of the model, and then you've got the feathers.
Kind of like the jewel in the crown. You know what I mean?
You've got the feathers, which are complementary. And there is nothing like, I love this because there's nothing like that is out of place. Everything works for what is going on in this model. This is such a great Slan, and I've seen people mess up Slans. This is just absolutely gorgeous. Like this.
Oh, thanks, man.
Hence why I was saying you're one of my favorite Oldhammer painters. You just do everything just right. It's just great.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hang on. Oh God.
I'll send those. I'll send
just
a bunch of those
the old Gobo team and the old Gobo Star players and the troll. Not the troll. I forgot the middle thing. Troll? No, not troll.
Yeah, was it the stone troll? Yeah.
Stone troll. Yeah, just
yeah.
Oldhammer Blood Bowl peak right here.
Yeah, I know. I was lucky enough. One of my Patreons sent me. He was really into Blood Bowl, and he's like, "Paint some Blood Bowl, paint some Blood Bowl." I'm like, "I will." And then he sent me a box of this, and because he has like every team, and he was like, "I'm never going to paint these, so I want you to paint them." And I had them sitting there for a while, and I was like, "Okay, I'm going to get around to it." And I think goblins are like some of the funnest miniatures. To paint. Like, so much fun to paint.
You and Josh, like between both of like what you guys have done for like old Blood Bowl stuff, like just absolute peak.
Yeah, he's bloody good painter. I've seen his stuff in real life. He's really good too.
Yeah,
Josh is very inspiring, and it's funny because we're two Australians as well, which is really funny as well. Really, so.
No, I mean, I have a real soft spot for old Blood Bowl, and I think it was like 3rd or 4th edition Blood Bowl when we were young. So like that was like the 90s era, and I mean, you absolutely nailed it.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Ragnar Blackmane for the win. I need to do one of those again. This is gorgeous. Your Eldar are just amazing. Hang on, where the hell is it? I preloaded a bunch of this stuff and I closed out of OBS, so I lost what I wanted to talk about.
Take your time. That's all good.
You do a lot of really cool fantasy stuff. Like I remember when that was released.
Yeah. I painted that at age. That was like one of I painted that years and years and years ago.
You're missing his sister.
Sorry?
You're missing his sister.
Yeah, I know. I have to get a bunch more vampire. Like I'm going through this thing right now where, like, I chop and change like things I like, and I'm really getting into undead and vampire counts at the moment. I'm just starting to collect them, and I really love that old, like, I've said it before in my videos, but that old like vampire aesthetic, that classic. Do you know what I mean? It's really growing on me. I like love it. Like even right now in front of me, I've got like some undead miniatures, which I'm looking at. I'm getting them ready. You know what I mean? They're in the background, but yeah, I love classic vampires and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just growing on me all the time. So yeah, I painted that one, that guy there, about 3 years ago now, maybe. I don't know. I'm not too sure, but I painted him for Halloween. I did him for Halloween. So,
it says 23. Yeah.
Yeah.
October 23.
Yeah. So yeah, I painted him a little while ago, but no, I love classic vampires now as well, and all undead and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, the funny thing was, so like I said, you're missing a sister. In 7th grade, the first love of my life, she's still a friend of mine. For her Christmas, I think Christmas or birthday gift, I painted her his sister, Isabella von Karstein.
Isabella, yeah.
And she still has her.
Oh, great.
Yeah. The funny thing was, like, I made a blood drop coming out the side of her mouth, and her grandma saw it at the time, and her grandma's like, "Oh, what's that red streak coming out of her mouth?" And she said, "Oh, he slipped up with the brush."
Yeah. Say wine.
It's wine. It's blood. It's wine. And just to keep, actually, what is your favorite miniature in your Instagram feed?
Oh, I don't know.
Recent.
I'm not too sure. I tend to really like my kit bash stuff. So like that Snotling pump wagon I kind of created.
Well,
I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted to click on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love the Snotling pump wagon.
Yeah, so I really like I've been getting into like kit bashing a lot as well, but trying to kit bash with an Oldhammer aesthetic to keep it kind of to the so I just use like a lot of parts and old parts, and I'm using a lot of what is it? I'm just using a lot of like different sorts of materials like PVC sheet and stuff like that as well, and polymer clay. So I've been really enjoying that. So I really I get a real big kick out of doing some of that. So the Snotling pump wagon's one that I really
love your wood, really, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
That's a terrible thing to say. I love your wood.
Yeah. No, it's all right. I get it. No, but I really enjoy.
You do wood really well. Like that's like really impressive.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, appreciate it. No, I've been practicing a little bit, and I think
that's actually a really cool kit bash. Like.
Yeah. I just grabbed. I got some. Generally, I go on eBay from time to time or Marketplace, and I kind of like just scour and get ideas for kit bashes. So I did that one, and then I did I think I did a Skaven one recently as well, which I got inspired from, and then I even did a High Elf kit bash. I've done a few now. I even did a Chaos Dwarf one. I think it was like last year. I did a Chaos Dwarf one. I made a Demon Engine. So I just kind of get inspired. I go around looking at parts and things that I have and things that I can use, and there's heaps of you get like old catapults that are kind of like already ruined and they're missing parts and stuff like that on eBay, and they're going real cheap, and I just grab them to use for parts. So yeah, I really do love like a bit of kit bashing from time to time as well.
Well, the funny thing is you actually said one of my biggest weaknesses. You mentioned Skaven. I love Skaven.
Oh yeah, they're
just so fun.
They're funny as well.
Like especially like second and third edition, they're so fun to paint.
And when you read Oldhammer books, it just like gives them this you know what I mean? You like start to understand why they're so funny, and you're like, oh my god, this is it. They're great. I love Skaven as well. I've got so much more I got to paint. I got so much Skaven.
I'm so glad Games Workshop has never brought them in the 40K. As much as I like the modern squats, like I forgot the name of the modern squats, but like
Votan.
The modern Votan, they're gorgeous.
They look pretty good. I really like the is it the Necromunda ones? Like the Necromunda? I really like that.
I don't know the Necromunda ones, but the 40K ones, I mean, they're absolutely beautiful. Like they're
I think they have them in Necromunda as well, and they're like the same. They're like Rotan squats, whatever. But they look really good too. I really like that.
It's like the same thing that they did with the I mentioned this I think in my last show or 2 shows ago. What they did with the modern Gene Stealer cults.
Yeah.
So like going into second edition, like GW discontinued they discontinued all the hybrids coming from Rogue Trader, and then they said, oh, you can just use Imperial Guard, and that was so much so for 25 years, and then they finally got back onto remaking the Gene Stealer cults, and the Gene Stealer cults like just they have the same aesthetic, the same feel, the same vibe as like the thing. Yeah, the Rogue Trader stuff, and with the Votan stuff, I mean, Rogue Trader second edition squats were kind of terrible looking, but like they did them justice, and I'm glad they never brought Skaven into 40K, even though if they did, it would probably be pretty good, but. Modern Skaven stuff is actually, it still has like the same just good feel as the second. I refer to stuff in 40K terms, so 4th edition and 5th edition fantasy. I think like keeping them separate would be like, I don't know, because now to me it's all a mess anyway. You mentioned earlier. You mentioned Secret Nim. And I can never unglue Secret of Nim from Skaven, because it's literally Skaven or Secret of Nim. I mean, I think like all new Hammer kids, they'll have no idea what we're talking about. One of the best animated movies you'll ever see in your life, The Secret of Nim.
And it's kind of like keeping them. I don't know. Like for me, it's like Skaven, and I struggle because like Skaven is such a part of like. Warhammer Fantasy, and even like
they're one of the best Blood Bowl teams ever.
And they're such an integral part for Warhammer the Old World to me. So now that Warhammer the Old World's out and they don't have Skaven in it, and they don't have the undead in it or vampire counts.
Wait. Kind of like, Old World that doesn't have Skaven?
Well, no, they don't. Well, they're not supported, but they like. I think there's like a fan made document.
I thought Old World was like all inclusive. Like it was literally old like fourth edition rules plus all the models.
No, they did. So they brought out when they first brought out Old World, I think they brought out like, don't quote me on this, but I think they brought out like they brought out rules for them, but they're not being supported in the Old World. They're not re-releasing the old Skaven minis. They're in Age of Sigmar now, but a lot of people still do use the.
I'm actually kind of personally insulted. Yeah. I don't play the game, but like I thought Old World was supposed to be like a complete throwback to like Oldhammer Warhammer fantasy. Given like a lot of the models are still Oldhammer Warhammer fantasy.
Yeah, it kind of is, but it's still like, they use the old models, but they're not bringing back like vampire. They're not bringing back vampire counts. They're not bringing back Skaven for it because they've technically moved over to Age of Sigmar, and that's when they brought up these new dwarfs or the new Chaos dwarfs. So they won't be Chaos dwarfs. Won't be one of the old world. They want to kind of keep us everywhere, which I think is silly. I think they need to go back to their original home. But that's another story. That's a story for another time.
Well, I mean, like Skaven was Skaven were a huge part of they've always been a huge part of Fantasy Battle.
Yeah. It's in Warhammer Fantasy DNA. They are Warhammer Fantasy. But yeah, it is one of those things. But what are you going to do?
Okay, so we're coming to the 2-hour mark. I need to end this. I want to chat with you post this.
We're gonna have dinner.
To end the show, I apologize. I've been forgetting to warn people.
Man, you're a good
Do you have any shout outs you'd like to give?
Shout outs.
Outside of Josh.
Outside of Josh. Probably my Patreons, Like I've got like a really good group of guys who support me and even my viewers who watch my videos. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm very, very lucky. I don't know how I got so lucky. I've got like a really, really good audience. And I've got a really good group of people in my Patreon, girls and guys, and they're really supportive of me. And like I'm not like I don't always it's kind of like nice to have like people who are kind of like it's like there's so much going on in the world. We're so lucky just to have a hobby in our hobby space. So probably my Patreon members, I've got a really good group of people there. Everyone who watches my videos, I'm being very lucky. I feel like I'm lucky that I don't like I've got like just really nice people who support me, and I feel
your videos are great, dude. I love your videos. They're
thanks,
fun to watch.
I appreciate it because like I don't like everyone's like talks about getting on. You get the odd bad comment every now and then, whatever, and people like don't like you, whatever. Like that.
Who cares?
But who cares? Like and it's like I feel very, and it's never been about subscriber count or anything like that for me or growing into. It's just kind of having fun and just making an environment where people can like just have fun and live the good old days and paint for the fun of it. So probably my viewers and anyone who supported me and even like you got people like Josh and all that. Yeah, thanks, man. Like and even like Josh, and Josh and just everyone. Like I've got like even a bunch of people here like I just chat to every now and then. I've got some really good hobby friends that. Like I've got my mates, like my best friends and stuff like that aren't really into Warhammer so much, but I've got friends who are kind of there into. They chat with me about it to keep me happy. But I've got some friends I play Magic with as well, Magic the Gathering with and stuff like that as well. But like I just mainly my my Patreons and even my Misso, my wife, she's so supportive of me as well. She like I really.
It's always good to have a woman that supports what you do.
Yeah, and she's like really like kept it like. Without her, I don't think my channel would be where I'm at even right now. Probably she's very supportive of it and she wants me to make the most of it. And so I have to thank her too. So pretty much basically a blanket approach. Everyone, thank you. But
yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. For the final part of the episode, I always do a mystery question from a previous guest. And your mystery question comes from Blue in Vermont. And he asks, who's a fictional Warhammer character you would hate to be sat next to on a long flight?
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Oh, this is a good one.
And he's an Oldhammer dude, so you can do Oldhammer stuff. Though,
because like I was like, oh yeah, like I would hate. I wouldn't like. Probably like. I don't know because there's so many like you got like Skarsnik and you got all these like crazy things. I'd say Thankful, but I'd probably like the Skaven Thankful, but Yeah, probably thankful. He's a bit of probably stinks and is a bit weird, and chattery and whatnot. It's probably I'd go thankful, but then again, after the flight I'd probably appreciate it.
Just
if that makes sense.
imagine being stuck next to Abaddon.
Yeah, no thanks, no,
bro.
That wouldn't be that good.
Shut up.
Right. I know. There's a lot of that's the thing about it. There's a lot of
we know you hate the Emperor. Trauma. Shut up.
Yeah, a lot of trauma in those characters. Yeah, but I'd probably say thankful thankful would probably win for that. Just would not stop chattering. So yeah, definitely.
All right, well, I'm going to shut the episode down for the night. Stick around. I want to chat with you afterwards. Thank you very much, Dietz, for coming on. It was an absolute honor to talk to you. Like, this has been an absolute blast. You were one of my favorite Oldhammer painters in the world, and I've been dreaming to have you on the show since like over a year ago. I've been following you for a couple of years now, and this has just been awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Cheers, thank you. Stick around for a minute. I'll talk to you afterwards. Hey guys, here's a couple more videos. I think by this time my Ultramarines painting tutorial will be out. It'll be pinned down below. But thank you for tuning in the show, and I will talk to you guys next time.